Hi friends, Nancy Novak here from StampandShout.com. Welcome to my YouTube Live. As you know, I pop on here every now and then. I love to share the cards that I make and the little crafts that I make, and hope I'm inspiring to you. And now this time of year, we have a lot of cards we can send out and a lot of little gifts, and I really like the one I'm going to show you today. So I'm going to turn the camera around and we're going to get started real fast. So this is what it is. It's a little tea bag holder. This is the one I made first, and I have it untied just to show you how it works. So it's just real simple, not a lot of supplies are needed. And then inside you can put whatever tea bag you have, and of course if you have a nice stash of tea bags, you can coordinate the colors of your card, you know, the pattern paper and everything, and make it really pretty. But just the idea is just really nice. So this one I'm actually going to send, actually I'm going to walk over and give it to my next door neighbor before Thanksgiving, and I hope she'll like that. So just tie a little bow there. But this is the one I want to make with you today, a little bit more Christmas themed. So let me bring in the supplies. And like I said, this does not take a lot of supplies, you guys. So pretty easy to make, and you could make a lot of them and you know, give them to your neighbors. You can give them to teachers, the lady that cuts your hair, the groomer. I'd like to make a few of these and take them over to the senior center and share them over there. So real quick, all you need, let me find my notes, make sure I get all the measurements down. This is a piece of cardstock, and it's 7.5 by 4 1/4, and then I scored it right in the middle there. Let me get my bone folder out, because whenever I make boxes and oh, of course I'm not going to be able to find my bone folder. Oh, there it is. Whenever I make, especially boxes or little gifts or little holders, you really want to make sure that you, wherever you score, you really crease it well. So that's where your bone folder comes in handy. So I also want to show you one other thing I did. I'm going to bring in my scoreboard just to show you. So here's my scoreboard. And like I said, I scored it at, oops, I don't know if I said or not, I scored it at 3 3/4. That's the center mark, right? Then I made a little notch right here on the left side at 2 3/4, just a little notch. Then I turned it and I made a little notch at 1 1/2, and I'll show you why. So if you don't have a scoreboard, you can obviously do that with a ruler. Just bring in your, a ruler and make your measurements, and then you can just go ahead and take, you know, whatever you have. Even a little paper clip will work, a little ballpoint pen or something without it open, and just mark your little notches. Okay, so now I have that scored. Now where that notch, where those notches are, I'm going to actually take my ruler. I'm going to put my ruler up at that notch and down at this notch, and I'm just going to kind of fold this up and give it a good crease. Then I'm just going to fold that to the inside, and that's going to make the front have that little angle that we're looking for. Okay, so we're going to finish this up in a second. I want to tell you a little bit more about the supplies. So that again was our card base, and that was 7.5 by 4 1/4. Next, you need some pretty pattern paper. So I have a strip here that is 1 3/8 by 3 1/2. And then for the inside, that is a 2 3/4 inch square, and I just cut it off corner to corner to make a little triangle. You could use the whole square if you want, you know, but I'm going to make a lot of these, so I thought, well, I'll conserve and just, you know, use the triangle part of it. So that's those two pieces. Let me tell you a little bit about this paper. This paper is called Heartwarming Hugs. And again, all my supplies are Stampin' Up! Supplies, and I have a list of all this below when I'm done in my description. But it's pattern paper on both sides. This is 12 by 12. I know it's probably coming through a little bit blurry as I'm moving it, the patterns, but it's gorgeous paper. Just fun paper. And you know what's nice about this this pattern paper is it's not just for the holidays. You can use it for anything. You can use it for, you know, Valentine's Day or birthdays or guy cards. Look at this pretty little chevron pattern. So anyways, again, that is called the Heartwarming Hugs paper. So Then what you're going to need are some squares. So, and this, of course, you can change it up however you think. This is how I made it. I had 3 squares, and the squares are 3 inches square, 2 5/8 inch square, and 2 1/8 inch square. So you can just cut these squares perfectly square, or I have a couple of other options. Since I do have these Stampin' Supplies, I use the layering squares. So those of you who don't know about thinlits and framelits, they're these metal little framelits and thinlits, and they will cut out your shapes. So this set is called the layering squares, and I actually used that for the scalloped end. And then you can go ahead and you could cut. They come in, smaller sizes, so you could actually use this set for all of them. But I switched it off. Instead of cutting all of them out of that, I cut a couple with my stitched edged framelits, just because I like that look. So these have ovals and circles and squares, and when you use these, you get this little stitched edge all the way around. It's kind of pretty. But like I said, you can keep it real simple and just cut the squares out. You can use layering square framelits, or you can use the stitched framelits. So I just wanted to make sure we're, all clear on the supplies. Real easy. So I'm going to go ahead and glue some of these things together, and then we're going to do a little bit of stamping and put it all together. So this square, this is the medium-sized square. I'm going to use glue if it comes out. This is a brand new bottle. It should be coming out. And it's not. Okay. I don't like the way that goes coming out, so I'm going to have to fix my glue bottle before we go on. So I'm just going to adhere those 2 pieces. I'm going to adhere this in a minute, but we're going to do a little stamping. Let me see if I can fix this brand new glue bottle. So I have my little paper clip here that I keep on hand for when this happens, and I'm going to kind of poke it in here. And let's see what that did. Okay, so we got those 2 squares put together. Now we're going to take this little strip and we're going to put this on the bottom of our card front, or our tea bag front. Glue's coming out. So I'm just going to go ahead and center this with a little bit of an edge on all sides. And I'm going to go ahead and put this one up in the corner on the inside. This side's pretty too, isn't it? I just thought this side was going to show my ribbon off better, so that's why I used it. So I like to use Tombow glue when I make my cards and crafts. It sticks really well, and it's a little forgiving, so if you put something down and you don't quite like it, you can still jiggle it around a little bit and make it go where you want it to be. Okay, so that's that. Then for stamping, I'm going to use poinsettia petals, and I'm going to use one of the poinsettia stamps and one of the leaf stamps, and I'm going to bring in a scrap piece of paper. So any stamps that you may have on hand, Merry Christmas or hello, even thinking of you, they're all going to work. Just have to make sure it fits in your little square. So I'm going to bring in real red ink, and I just want this to be faint in the background. So I'm going to stamp off on a piece of scrap paper, and then I'm going to stamp in the center of that square. Then I'm going to bring in the other stamp that's a little leaf stamp, a little pine leaf stamp, and I'm going to bring in Granny Apple Green. I love this green. It's kind of a bright green. That's the color of that square right there. And I'm kind of looking first because I think this leaf fits one way better than the other, but I'm going to stamp off, and I'm going to go ahead and stamp in between those petals. So it's real faint. I love that. Gives that little bit of a background look to this. It adds to that plain white background. Then I'm going to bring in a Merry Christmas stamp. And again, I'm going to stamp in real red, but this time I'm not going to stamp off because I want that bold color. So I'm going to ink that up and put it right in the center of my square. There you go. So see like the faint background. I love that little green leaf in there. Really looks pretty. So now let's glue this to this square that we did. So if you're watching me live, go ahead and type in hi, let me know you were here. This glue is being stubborn today. If you're watching me on replay, go ahead and type in replay. If you have any questions or comments, go ahead and type them in there. I'll be sure to answer you. Subscribe to my channel, and if you hit that little bell, that notification bell, whenever I'm going to do a video, it'll let you know, so you won't miss anything. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in my ribbon. This is braided linen trim, and I'm going to use about 18 inches because it'll fit right around this card. Let's clear our space here. And then I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to bring in some dimensions because I'm going to pop it up. It's not going to just be glued down, it's going to be popped up a little bit. So I'm going to put some dimensions on, and I'm going to put a dimension in 3 corners, one on the top and then the bottom. And then I'm going to put one right in the middle on the back. And I'm just going to leave this one open because I don't want it to stick to the inside of my card. Then I'm just going to lay my ribbon on my card. I'm going to make it even, like that. And I'm going to go ahead and adhere this. I'm going to take the backing off of these dimensions. And then I'm just going to lay it on my card. So I'm going to just lay it right in the center here. Like that. Then we can go ahead and tie our ribbon. But before I do that, I do have to glue this one down right here. This was that flap that we did earlier, and I want to glue that down. So, like I said, my glue is not cooperating with me today. Glue that down. Tea bag. So for your tea bag, this is tight enough to actually hold the tea bag in all by itself. You don't really have to do too much, but you could take another dimension and pop it on here, or you could take a glue dot or even some tape and wrap it around. And I'm going to put it down here in the bottom, close this up, and tie a little bow. So if you do like the video, go ahead and click on like and go ahead and subscribe, share with your friends. I would appreciate it. I will have all the supplies listed in the description, and I'll have more details on my blog, which is www.stampandshout.com. So again, if you have any questions, any comments, go ahead and leave them. And there you go.